Hey friends, Erin here. Just want to take a second to ask you, before we get into our episode this week, to go to your podcast platform and leave us a 5-star review. We've been having 120 of these episodes, and every 5-star review helps us get a little closer to getting more people plugged into the show, more people listening, and get more good guests on. So go give us a 5-star review, and wow. We're here. We're doing it. Let's dive into it right here on the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast.
Let's go, let's go. Let's go, let's go. Let's go, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast, episode 120, joined this week by Miss Erin Grand.
Hey,
welcome to the
what's
show,
up?
Erin.
Thanks.
I'm glad to finally have you on here because I've known you for years.
I love it. I know. Wait, have you ever had another Erin on this podcast?
So I actually used to have a co-host named Erin. Erin
oh, that's
Cooper.
right. Yeah, I love her.
Yeah,
yes,
Erin Cooper used to co-host for, I think she was on like 15 or 20 episodes, but
oh my gosh.
Yeah, the dynamic duo of Erin is back.
Yes, I love it. All the Erins. There's so many Erins down here.
I know. Like when I first moved here, it was like, oh, I'm going to be unique. I'm going to be an Erin.
I know.
And there's a lot of us.
There's a lot of female Erins, and it's so funny because I was the only Erin in my town, at least that I knew of, that was a female. And I hated my name.
Really?
I have a boy name. I hate my name. I wished I could have changed. My parents were going to name me McKinley.
Really?
And I love that name. Now I'm like, oh, if I have a daughter
That's
someday,
unique.
maybe I'll use that. And I remember like when I was young, I'm like, damn it. Why didn't you name me McKinley? I love that way more. This is like a boy name. Erin's a boy name. But no, now there's so many girl Erins that I've met down here. It's crazy.
Well, my parents thought I was going to be a girl, so they had planned on naming me Holly. Like, that was going to be my name. And then I was born, and they're like, oh, well, that is.
Yeah.
Like,
there's
okay,
boy.
I guess we're going to name him Aaron.
Yeah.
Because Aaron was Holly's brother. Like, they were friends of theirs. So
Crazy.
Imagine being like, oh, my friends are going to name their baby after me.
Wild.
And then the baby's born, and they're like, actually, JK, we're going to name it after your brother.
Yeah. I have a crazy story, actually, now that we're talking about this. I don't know if this is going to take us way off track, but my husband, Ryan, they thought he was going to be a girl, too.
Really?
And he was going to be named Erin if he was a girl. How crazy is that? Yeah. And the list of if I was going to be a boy, my parents had a list of boy names. They weren't going to name me like Ryan in particular, but Ryan was on the list.
That was on the list.
Boy names. I know, but he was supposed to be Erin. Like he was going to be a girl named Erin, and then he was a boy. So
is it really common for them to make that mistake when you're doing the sonograms?
Right? I know. I'm like, wait, why were we all supposed to be the opposite gender and then we didn't? Oh, that's funny.
So how long have you been married? I know you got married relatively recently, right?
Yep. Like 6 months ago, 6 or 7 months ago now. I got married November 11th, 11/11.
Okay.
And it was great. It was a little wild.
And now you've got it. He liked it, so he put a ring on it.
He did. He liked it, so he put a ring on it. Exactly.
So were you guys dating when you first moved to Nashville?
Yes, we were. We dated for 2 years before we moved. Or no. Yeah, 2 years. 2 years before we moved. And we moved in 2020. And we moved the day that the day before the tornado hit here.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow, so you really got thrown into the deep end of Nashville that year.
No, seriously, because then like a week later...
The week later was the COVID shutdown.
Yeah, literally. So I'm like, okay, God, what are we doing? And should I move back home? Like, what is going on?
Like, how do I make money now?
Yeah, like just so weird. All of these things that I prepped and planned for when I moved down here are now just getting thrown in the garbage.
All of your plans. Oh, isn't that the old saying, make plans and God laughs?
Yes, that literally. Oh my gosh. No, that's so, I'm like having an epiphany. Like that was the definition of that right there. Totally.
So where'd you move here from?
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
I hate that.
Was Nashville always the plan?
It was. Yes. I'm trying to think. I mean, I didn't really totally think that it was possible. I want to say like freshman year of high school. What is that? Like you're 15. You like hear about it, but at 15, I'm like, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to get out of high school and go to Nashville. And I had heard of people like, you know, skipping college and going to Nashville. And I was just like, that's just not going to be possible for me. I feel like my parents are going to want me to go to college and all my friends are going to college. Like, this is just what I need to do. But it's so funny because my senior year of high school, I used to not be very open about this, but now I'm very open about it. Because I realize how common it actually is. I was super like academically challenged. I was not like very, very bad in school. And honestly, I don't have like a learning disorder, nothing. I was just dumb. I just didn't try, and I was lazy, and I knew that what I was learning and doing was such BS. I just couldn't. Can I swear on
you?
Here?
Knew you weren't gonna ever use any of that knowledge.
Yeah, totally. Can I
that
say
was my
BS,
entire
or is that bad?
educational experience from when I was 15 and started playing the guitar all the way through college. I was like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm bad at this, and I don't want to get better at it.
I am so glad that you can relate to this.
I totally relate to it, because I tried hard. I wanted to have good grades, but I would try to study, and it just didn't click. But then I'd play the guitar, and I'd be like, oh, that clicks. That immediate. I never had issues learning how to play the guitar.
Yes. Like, oh my gosh, I love that. That is exactly how it was for me.
And it's nice talking about this with you, because I'm sure we're not the only people who went through that exact same thing.
Right. And that's why I'm very open about it now, because I used to be so closed off about it, because I didn't want people to think that I was an idiot or I'm dumb or, like whatever. I didn't want to have that label on me. But I think it is so common. All of us musicians go through a period of time where we're like, what the hell are we doing? Like, why am I wasting all this money and this time learning this stuff? Now, granted, like, obviously, get through high school for sure.
Definitely
like, you need to graduate high school for sure.
Right.
Not saying that you should, like, drop out of high school. But
there's a stigma for people who drop out of high school, but there's not one for people who don't go to college.
Yes.
Like,
totally.
And also, college is so expensive now to have a degree to be qualified to work at Starbucks.
It's insane. Like, it's when you say that out of your mouth, it's like, that's idiotic. Like, that's stupid. So yeah, anyways, I'm very now open to talking about it, but I struggled in school, and it was because I didn't want to show up. I was lazy and I didn't try hard, and I'm just going to lay it out there. I'm going to be honest. That's really what it was. If I really like set my mind to something and try hard, I can get it done. And, I would hide and skip class, and I would go to the choir room. And at our school, I went to a beautiful, amazing school, and very lucky and very blessed to grow up in a town that was just, we were just blessed with a great arts director.
That's
and
cool.
Like, just great teachers in general. All of my teachers really believed in me, and they knew why I wasn't trying hard, but they needed me to graduate, So they were like, we get it. We know why you're skipping class. We get it. But like, please show up so that we can sign off on you. If you're
in the room, we can justify passing you.
Literally. So, but like I was saying, we had these like beautiful, like sound, what do you call it? Like those rooms,
the soundproofing?
Yeah. Soundproof rooms or whatever. And there was a piano, a grand piano.
Practice rooms.
Yes. Yeah. Practice rooms. Exactly. And there was a grand piano in each room, and I would go in there and I would shut the door and nobody would find me. And it was so funny how like nobody would ever catch on to that. Like, clearly teachers and deans and principals, that's where I'm hiding. How are you not coming down here every day? How are you not
looking in the one place where I like to hang out?
I know. It's like, looking back on that now, I'm like kind of just realizing
it's not like I'm hiding on the roof of a building or
like literally physically leaving the school. Like, never did I do that. I just went to the music room.
I did that.
I mean, I did do that a couple times.
Because I have such a deep voice, I would call the attendance office as my dad, and I would excuse myself from class. It's like, hello, I would like to excuse my son, Aaron Schilb, from 3rd hour through 7th hour today.
And
they're like, all right, Mr. Schilb, this is the 9th time in the last month you've excused him from class. Is everything okay? And he's like, well, he's been having some hearing issues. So I like made it like medical, and they're like, oh, we're so sorry.
So then they don't touch it. They're like, oh my gosh, totally. Yeah.
So at the end of my senior year, I did that one time, and they're like, well, Aaron I missed 28 days of school doing that.
Yeah.
And they're like, if Aaron misses 30 days, he legally can't graduate. He has to do summer school. And I was like, oh, well, I found the limit.
Yep. That's what it was. I mean, I remember it it was like a little bit traumatizing, to be totally honest with you. But I remember the day that I came home from school and my parents were in the kitchen and they were like, we just got a phone call from your dean and your principal. And tomorrow morning we are showing up at school at 7 a.m. and we are having a meeting. And I literally talking about it right now, I'm like, ooh,
you get like post-traumatic stress.
Literally,
you're like, oh no.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this is happening. I have been caught. Like I have been caught. And that is the one thing, everybody, like you will get caught. Like you think you're sneaky, but anything you do, you will get caught. So sure enough, that next morning we had a huge meeting and every single one of my teachers, I showed up to this huge like office room.
Like an intervention?
It was a full intervention. I'm not even kidding you. It was an intervention. And it was like, you are not going to graduate if you don't stop skipping class and hiding away and whatever. Now, I think I was dealing with a lot of like anxiety and stuff like that as well, because I knew that I didn't totally fit in. And so I would hide, you know? So not to like totally say I was lazy and just didn't try. I think I was dealing with some mental health stuff too. But that was scary. And that flipped a switch. I mean, the next day, it ended up totally working out. And my teachers did every sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a loophole to get me to just graduate. And they were on my side.
They were trying to help you get out.
They were on my side totally, which was like amazing.
That's good.
I honestly don't know what I would have done if they were just like, you need to show up tomorrow and get back on the schedule. Like, no, they very much understood what I was going through and knew that I was not going to college. And my parents were so supportive of that, by the way.
Thank goodness.
Oh,
some people are not.
No, it's not common to have like super supportive parents in a career like this. So,
that would be me.
Oh, Erin. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I am very blessed. So yeah, that was kind of
So you
my
moved here right out of high school, or did
No.
you take some time off between moving and graduation?
I did, because I just like, I needed to like take a good year off of like what I went through the past few years.
You need to
decompress and like just go and play music. So we didn't move down here until 2020. I graduated in 2017.
Okay.
So I took the rest of 2017 to just live life and be a kid. I gigged every single weekend though up in Minnesota. I gigged Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes just Friday, Saturday, but every weekend I was booked. And that's how I made my money. I never had a real job. And that's what I did.
I went to college much to my displeasure. My dad told me I needed to go to school, and I went my freshman year to one university, hated it. Transferred to a new university, sophomore year, hated it. Transferred to a third university my junior year.
Gosh.
Spoiler alert, I hated it. And I took time off after my junior year, and my dad came up to me. He was like, "You're not going back, are you?" I was like, "No, I'm gonna try to finish. I need a break though." Yeah. So I took off a semester, and then I came back and just hated every bit of it. Yeah. And I almost flunked out. Like I had a like a French 1000 class that I had to have to pass and graduate and everything. And I never skipped a class. Like at that point I was like, I have to buckle down and do this. But
yeah, good for you.
My teacher knew I was trying, but I was just so bad at it that when we took our final, it was a 10-minute oral conversation and it had to be all in French. And it was mortifying because I would sit and listen to her and I was like, I have no idea what you're saying. Like, you can talk back at me in French, but I don't know what it means. Yeah. And at the end of it, she's like, dude, that was terrible. I'm like, I know. Yeah, I was like, I was there too. Yeah. Like I was the one standing there. So and
yeah, I know.
She was like, do you need this to graduate? And I was like, you are the only class I need to graduate. She goes, if I give you a 60.1%, will you graduate? And I said, if you give me a D-, I'll graduate. Yeah. She goes, okay, you can graduate. And it's like, thank you so much.
Praise God.
She pitied me because I was so bad.
Praise God for those teachers though, because there's not a lot of them out there, but there are some where they are just like, I feel for you and I know what you're trying to do with your life and this isn't it. So I'm going to help you out. And I will, if I ever make it big someday, I hope that I can go back to my deans and my teachers and give them like freaking free tickets.
Thank you for helping.
And VIP backstage passes and get them like massages and a full spa day. Like, I just am like, thank you for like being concerned for me, but also like, you know, being like nudging me on the side, being like, hey, we're going to get you through this, you know?
Just get through it.
Yeah. Like, yeah, totally.
So what made you want to get into music, or were you always doing it from when you were a little kid?
I was kind of always doing it.
Okay.
Grew up in church. And
was there like a church choir that you were singing in and everything?
Yes,
Okay.
actually. So
That's what I did growing up.
I love that. So started in church. And then our worship leader at the church that I was at, wanted to take our children's worship band, bring it outside of the church and kind of do like a secular thing, a secular band. And we were all down and we were like, let's just see what happens. Like he had some connections, got us some gigs. It ended up like totally blowing up. And we were actually, for us all being like 18 and under, we were extremely well known in the Midwest and played a crap ton of places. The band was called Ageless.
Okay.
And then everybody kind of started, you know, graduating high school and going to college. And then the guitar player and I, we had not graduated yet high school. So we were like, let's keep doing this just a duo. So then we did a duo. And then
were you still doing church music at that point? Or is the duo? So, okay.
So I actually did end up being a worship leader as a job at my church too. And, yeah, we did this duo thing. And then I ended up graduating high school and met my, then boyfriend, now husband, and ended up kind of like wanting to move to Nashville. She didn't. That music was not her like end goal for life.
It was a fun thing to do.
Yeah. Like she's in nursing and she's crushing it and she's very successful in what she's doing. She like was working at the Mayo Clinic and all that kind of stuff. So like she's crushing
So she's
it.
a good doctor, good nurse.
Yeah. Exactly. She's doing it right. Anyways, so yeah, we kind of went our separate ways, which was like not a problem at all. And I just kept doing music and then moved down here in 2020. So yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
What was your first impression of Nashville other than obviously like the tornado and COVID shutdown?
Well, luckily we had been coming down.
You'd been here before.
Yeah, we had been coming down like since 2016.
Okay.
I think 2016 was my first trip, or 2017. So I knew plenty about Nashville before I actually moved here, which was great. Highly recommend like coming and visiting here or wherever you're.
How old were you when you visited the first time?
18.
Okay.
Yes, 18.
Yeah, I came here for the first time, I think when I was 20. And
crazy.
Like how you saw it and it's like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like these people they're doing the thing that in my brain at the time was like, this is a dream. This doesn't happen in real life.
Right.
And then you see people like getting up and playing and making money and you're like, oh, this might not just be a dream.
Yep.
Like it's possible. It's one of the few places where like you really can make a living. If you're going and doing Broadway gigs or stuff, you really can make a living here doing that.
Totally. And I remember like coming down and it feeling like a different world. Like you went down on Broadway and I got this like feeling in my body like this is like
it's like the
magic.
Holy Land.
Yeah, yes. It did. It felt like I was walking like into this whole utopia. Like, I don't know. It was weird, but like a good
Did you grow up listening to country music?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My parents love country music. And actually the Midwest is like very, very country music oriented. I don't know if that's like the right term or word, but like country music is big.
Did you grow up like on a farm like country?
No.
You're a suburban Midwesterner?
I was like not even close to a small town woman or girl at all.
I didn't grow up in a small town either.
Yeah, no. I mean, I grew up in Lakeville, Minnesota, which is like 30 minutes south of the Twin Cities. And I want to say, actually, I'm not going to say, I have no idea what the population. I could have like said a number. Like I could have said anywhere from like 30,000 to like 500,000 and I have no idea. Like, but it's big.
That's my hometown's got like almost 200,000 people in it now.
Yeah, where are you
like,
from again?
Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah.
So it's about 2 hours east of Kansas City.
And it's like, how many people did you say?
It's almost 200,000. Like, it's a big city now.
Yeah. I feel like Lakeville is like that too. I want to say we're in the 100,000s. I don't know. though. Don't just take that with a grain of salt.
My dad grew up in like an actual small town called Otterville. And when he grew up there, it had 300 people. Like he grew up in an actual small town. Like they didn't have stop signs on their streets because there weren't enough people to need stop signs.
Right. Because it's
you can walk across the entire town in like 12 minutes.
Oh my God.
And that's
Crazy.
what all these country singers are singing about is that's kind of a
That.
small town.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
dirt roads.
Right. Well, and what's crazy too is like Lakeville is a big town, but it felt small. Like
Mhm.
I feel like anywhere you went, you're going to see somebody you know. So it just doesn't even like, it's not big enough to where you can't get away with not seeing
Right.
somebody you don't know kind of
I
thing.
feel like Nashville's like that, though. I'm sure you've
I
heard
think-
the old platitude about that.
Yep.
Like, Nashville's a big city, but it's a small town.
Yes. Yes.
Because, I mean, our music community, we think it's gigantic.
Yeah.
Because relative to a bunch of the other music communities in other cities, it is gigantic, but
Right.
it's not that big. If you're out
No.
doing stuff like we do almost every day,
Yeah.
you really do see people you know everywhere.
Crazy. Well, and I
Everywhere.
feel like especially for you, just because you've built this like amazing Nashville tour stop like business and round, like I feel like you are everybody knows you. Anybody I talk to, I'm like, oh yeah, I love playing like NTS, Erin, Shilb, and everybody's like, love that guy. Like I feel like you are very much you for sure. You go
I
out
am
anywhere.
I am a man about town.
Yeah, like people, you go to the grocery store and it's like Erin, there he is.
And that was I forget what TV show, but it's just like the idea of just being around all the time.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be like playing all the time, but just being in the room.
No, yes.
Just let people see you.
Yeah, I need to be better about that. I'm trying to work on this year, like getting
It's
out more.
hard
Yeah.
because we're sleepy.
Well, and yeah, I'm honestly, it's not being sleepy for me. It's more so like I just don't love to go out. I don't know why.
I'm much
well,
more of a homebody now than I used to be.
Yes, I mean I am totally a homebody, but I also like now that I'm married too, like going out is not
hmm
something like
You're not
that
going out to try to hit on dudes or
right,
anything.
and not that that's why I would go out, but it's just I don't know. I'm just so comfortable being home.
Right.
And I don't know. I think social media plays a big role in that too. It's like, well, I have social media now. I don't need to like go out and network my life away. Like I'll
Mhm.
just try to blow up on TikTok and see what happens. But no, like I need to be better about going out and connecting with people and networking because I need to.
It's important to a certain degree, but I mean, it's important to do it because you want to be around and you
Right.
want to be involved in the community. But
Yeah.
I guess there is a degree of overkill for it.
Right.
Like the people who, for example, like the people who play 12 times a week
Yes.
and then they're like, this is the important one. I'm like, oh, well, I can't go to that one. I'll come to one of the other 11 shows you're
Right.
doing though. Like there is some of that,
Right.
but it
sure.
is hard because you do see people going out and doing stuff all the
I know.
time. And then that bug in your brain's like,
Yeah.
should I be there?
Yeah.
Should I be at
know.
Red Door?
That's-
No.
No, literally. I mean, the amount of like guilt I see when I see a bunch of people, at Red Door, at Winners and Losers, I'm just like, oh my gosh, should I like get up and go and like go down there and hang out? But like, I don't know. I feel like I'm in a different place in my life now where that's just not who I am to
Right.
like go be out late at night. And I don't think you need to be that person either.
Mm-mm.
Like you just said, like, no, you don't need to go to Red Door. Like, stop.
Someone called me at 11:45 p.m.
Yeah.
last week it was a weekday, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to go to Red Door right now?" I was like, "I have had on my pajamas for 6 hours."
No, dude. It is literally midnight. Like that's so normal down here. And I think that's why I feel guilty because that is the normal and that's what people do. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe I have to change how I am and like do that. And it's hard too because my husband he doesn't drink. He's never had a sip of alcohol in his life. And he doesn't plan to. So not that you have to drink to go
Right.
out, but
That's a huge part of the social contract of Nashville.
It is. And I feel like, again, like, why does it have to be that way? I'm not a huge drinker either, but I, occasionally will have a drink and I definitely will go out and drink, but it's hard too when like your significant other doesn't totally
And
love
that's
to
one
go
of the
out either.
things that I think like our generation's getting better about is
Yes.
when people do go out and they choose not to drink. We're not like, "Oh, come on, you
So
you know,
true.
like drink
Yeah.
have a drink." You're
Right.
like, "I don't want to."
Yeah. No,
Like-
I think you are so right because it is. I mean, never have I ever had a situation where I decide not to drink and somebody's like, "Oh, come on! Like, what the hell are you doing? Why aren't you having a drink?" Blah blah blah. Like, no, never.
No
never.
no one our age is pressuring
No.
like, or at least like directly pressuring people
Right.
to drink like that. And that's
Yeah.
one of the things I think is good
Yeah.
about the shift about our generation's attitude towards alcohol, because the way I think our generation looks at smoking now is like
Yes.
way less millennials smoke
Yeah.
than like our parents did.
Totally. Oh my
And
gosh, yeah.
What I start wondering is like, are my nephews going to look at alcohol the way we look at smoking? Or are they
Smoking?
going to be like, oh my God.
Well, I kind of feel that way. And it's honestly like now when I go out, I typically will get a mocktail. And because I just also am not going to just like sit there and drink alone with my husband, like unless I'm, going to have a glass of wine maybe, but like hard liquor, I'm not just going to down by myself.
Well, let's rip some tequila shots.
Yeah,
It's a
right?
Tuesday.
Literally. Like I just we need to have a little self-control here. And like, yeah. Anyways, but I've noticed a lot of restaurants are doing a lot more like mocktail options and have mocktail menus. And I love that. Like I love that our generation and this world has shifted their mindset into like, okay, I don't think we have to drink to have a good time anymore. This is really cool.
Right.
I love that.
And I hope that continues to evolve and become part of our culture now.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, sure, I work with these corporations that sponsor and
Right.
they're booze.
Yeah.
But if I didn't want to drink them, they wouldn't revoke the advertising.
No.
It's like I just don't want to have a beer tonight.
Right.
And if
Right.
you told any medical professional like, oh, I didn't want to have a drink, they're not going to say, oh, you should have.
Right.
Like, have you ever done the like general practitioner stuff where they're like, how many drinks a week do you have on average? It's like 0 or
Yeah.
1 or 2 to
Yes.
3.
Yep.
And then there should be like the Nashville box and it's like
Right.
10 to 12 a night. And you're like, that's just called alcoholism.
10 to 12 a night on a Tuesday. Yeah.
That's something that you go to an AA meeting for.
Yep. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm happy to see that that's shifting.
I agree.
But like I turned 31 this year and
Woo-woo.
like I'm just at the point where I don't want to go out to bars every night of the week.
Well, right. Yeah.
And that's not weird.
No, it's not weird. I think that's more so what I'm getting at is like, I love to go out. I do, but it should not be the one thing like that you should be
The one
putting,
thing you go to do.
Yeah. And you shouldn't feel pressure to do it. And you shouldn't have to like make time on your schedule to go out to a bar and network. Like that is to me just not.
It defeats the purpose of it being a recreational activity.
Right.
As
Right.
soon as going to the bar turns into work, it changes your mindset
Yes.
towards it.
Oh, that is so true.
And you're
Erin.
like, oh, I have to go to a bar to go to work.
So true.
And that's why when
Preach.
I was in college, like I went to a coffee place to do work. It was
Yeah.
like every time I went to a coffee place, it's like, I should probably like try to write a
Yeah.
song or read
Yeah.
something. But no.
Well, and let's like be real here. Okay, if I go out to Red Door at night, late at night, whatever, I might run into artists or people who are bigger or who have bigger names than me.
Right.
Great. That's maybe a plus, but they're not going to remember you the next morning.
Nope.
So everything I am doing that you're telling me I should be doing, it just doesn't, like, let's get real. Let's think about tomorrow morning when we all wake up. Nobody's going to remember that and nobody's going to care. Like, this is kind of an example. So I was at Winners or Losers, I can't remember which one, with my husband Ryan, and Morgan Wallen was there. And we had a few mutual friends that were with Morgan Wallen at the time. And this is before he like really blew up. He had just released like his first couple singles. But he was talking to Ryan like all night and he was off. He bought everybody in the bar shots and he invited Ryan to go fishing with him the next day, like all this stuff. And it never happened because it never happened.
Of course
and
it didn't
like,
happen.
As Ryan was sitting and talking to him, Ryan knew this is not going to actually happen, but I'll sit and talk to Morgan Wallen, whatever,
Right.
It's Morgan Wallen. But it's like, that's my point though, is like this just, I'm not going to go get a record deal or a publishing deal or make some crazy, amazing connection by going to Red Door on a Tuesday night at 11:45 PM.
That doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen like that. I would rather.
The gatekeepers aren't at Red Door at midnight.
No, I would rather like go knock on the freaking door of Sony and ask for a meeting.
That'd be more likely to have happened.
Exactly. So, and that's like, very out there, but it is more likely, totally, because we're all in our right mind on a weekday afternoon. But well, most of us. But I Yeah, I just can't stand that kind of pressure that I feel like a lot of artists have to feel.
Because I've had those people who are like, oh, you have to come meet my friend Erin. He hosted the Nashville tour stop. And I get why people do that. And I love that people want to come meet me at my shows.
For sure.
But because of the volume I do, people are like, oh, yeah, we met at tour stop. And I'm like, I'm going to need you to be way more specific. It's like, I've done this 200 times this year.
Literally.
Can you just narrow, was it a weekday or a weekend?
Yeah.
Or was it early or was it late?
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, well, we met at Cabana Taps in 2021. I'm like, you can't email me and be like, hey, remember that one time 3 years ago when we met at 11:45 p.m. on a Friday? No, I don't.
No.
Sorry.
Because
that's not the time to make the connection. You can come and say, hey, hi, how can I do this?
Right.
But man, I'm not going to remember that your sister's mother's brother, yada, yada. I'm like, I'm tired. I want to go home. I'm going home in 15 minutes. That's all I'm thinking about.
Yes.
I'm at the end of my workday.
Yes, totally. Oh, yeah. Preach. That's just big preach. Yeah.
Well, hey, that's a perfect place to take a quick commercial message.
Okay.
We'll come right back with more on the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast. And we're back with the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast, episode 120. Miss Erin Grand sitting across from me today. We've talked quite a bit about a whole bunch of stuff, and surprisingly, very little of it has been about the creative part of what we do.
I know. A lot of rambling over here. Imagine that with me.
So when did you get into songwriting? When did that enter the picture?
That entered the picture senior year of high school. So like 17, which is kind of, or 16. No, 16. So junior year. I remember writing my first song my junior year. And
what was it called?
Horrifying. It was called Renegade.
And I have my first song framed in my bedroom.
Yeah, I'm not doing that, but good for you. No, but that song was released actually, and a lot of people probably still have it downloaded on their phones. I know a couple of my friends do, and they will torment me by playing it. But just good old fashioned 16-year-old heartbreak, man. Mm-hmm. It'll get you to write a song.
This is the only person for me, and it's never ever gonna be the same.
Oh my gosh. And like thinking about like who I wrote that about too, I'm just like smacking, like, you're an idiot. Anyways, that was a canon event, I would say, in my life. Like, you couldn't ruin that. It's a canon event.
Did you play the guitar or the piano on it?
Guitar.
Okay.
And then
did you teach yourself to play?
I did not. Nope. So the worship leader that like started that whole band for us, he was my music teacher.
Okay, cool.
So he taught me guitar and piano. And then, wrote a couple other songs about boys, because that's what you do at 16 and 17 years old. You write and talk about boys. And then the first song that I actually like remember writing and co-writing with was here in Nashville.
Okay.
When I started visiting Nashville, I did a co-write with Alex Keel and Channing Krentz, Channing from Lake and Lindale. And we wrote a song. I'm not remembering the name. It would take me forever to try to find it, but we wrote a song, the three of us. And actually John Krentz might've been there too. Channing's husband, John, who's in the band Lake and Lindale too. But, yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but that was the first time I wrote a song with like real true co-writers and other artists. And just like a switch flipped with me, and I'm like, yup, I love this.
This is the stuff.
This is the stuff. So I then just kept visiting, and I would just keep booking rights with them. And then, they knew people, so I would get connected with people that they knew. And, that's just kind of how it goes all the way down. But
was this your first experience with co-writing?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. It was.
Because in my band in high school, we, air quotes, we co-wrote songs.
Yeah.
But like, I would come in with like, this is how the guitar part goes.
Yeah. And
the singer would be like, oh, well, what should the song be about? And then it'd be like, well, let's make it about like looking at yourself from the other side of a mirror. And like,
ooh, deep.
Oh, yeah. So that was kind of our process.
No,
I would
like
write the music and the guy would write the lyrics.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's nice when you come into a co-write in Nashville.
Yeah.
Where people can do both.
Yeah.
And you can, I don't want to say change positions, so to speak, but like if somebody else has a guitar idea, I can come in with lyrics. And
yeah.
There's not one way to co-write.
No, totally. What was the name of your band?
It was called Lot 56.
Lot 56.
That was the name of the band.
Why was it called that?
I did a Wikipedia random article search, and I picked the first article that came up.
Shut up.
Yeah,
That's
it was
hilarious.
a vacant lot up in Canada somewhere.
It's like Post Malone. Like he put his name into a rapper name generator.
Yeah,
and
so that was the name of the
band.
band, but we broke up after senior year of high school.
Aw.
We won a battle of the bands and put out a 6-song EP, and we're like,
Hell yeah.
all right, looks like we're on the ascent to stardom. And
Yeah.
then I was like, actually, I'm going to college. Bye.
See ya. Yep. And then the rest
I
is history.
wanted the band to stay together, but the drummer and the singer were younger than me, and the
Okay.
bassist was moving. I'm like, this will just be a
Yeah.
fun thing we did in high school.
Yeah, that's like how it was for me too. I got really sad when everybody started kind of going their separate ways, but then yeah, it was just
It's-
like yeah.
Just to get to look back on it
Yep.
that was a fun part of my life.
Yeah, there was definitely no more to that than it just being a high school band for sure.
Like, well, that was the reason I do music now is because of that band.
Yeah.
I remember playing that Battle of the Bands show. I think I was
Yeah.
18 or something, but
Yeah.
that was before we had put music out, and that was when iTunes was still like the big deal. That was
Yes.
2011.
Yes.
And we played a Battle of the Bands, and people came. Like we
Yeah.
played a venue, and it held like 400 people,
Yep.
and we probably had 250 of our friends from high school there.
No way,
It was-
Erin.
It was awesome.
That's sick.
And I remember the people in the audience were singing along with the lyrics that I had written
Yeah.
of my first song.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys have never heard this online. You just came to our shows and you know the words because you've come to our shows.
That is so
And
cool.
I was like, I need to chase that feeling
Love that.
forever.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So after that, I decided I was like, I got to be in music
Yeah.
and chase that feeling. So that's why I ended up coming to Nashville.
Right.
Because I wanted to be a songwriter. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that I do tour stop now. I love what I do now.
For sure.
I do not miss the soul-crushing anxiety of trying to be an artist.
Yeah. Trust me. Living and breathing that. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't miss the grind.
Yeah.
Writing songs is now fun again.
Yeah.
And
right?
does not feel like a job.
Ooh, man. I feel like I'm going to be super honest with everybody right now. I feel like my mindset right now is I'm kind of in that. It's feeling like a job. But I think it's because I'm this kind of happened last Christmas. I just went through a funk. I kind of like went through, I think all of us go through this. Like, I want to move back home.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't my thing. Like, I sat there and I just thought, this is not actually going to work out for me. Like, I need to be realistic with myself. I am not going to go play a stadium and have thousands of people singing my song at me. Like, I cannot picture that actually happening for me.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's fun to dream about it. I can totally dream about it, but I don't think that's really going to happen. And I just went through this weird funk of feeling that way for like 3 months. And then I started to realize that funk was not because I wanted to quit. It was because I had a different sound and a different things that I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that kind of basically took me out. Well, we haven't even talked about this yet, but I'm kind of transitioning out of country music into doing more soul,
Cool.
R&B.
And that's hard when you're in Nashville because if you don't sing the thing that
Yeah.
Nashville is, air quotes,
Right.
people don't love it as much.
Right.
Or you don't get booked as much because,
Yeah.
oh, well, you're not doing contemporary country music.
Right.
And like, oh, well, okay,
Yeah.
that's not what I want to do.
Right.
And I've seen a ton of like people leaving Nashville because they're getting blackballed from venues because they're not fitting into that one
Yeah.
shape that Nashville wants.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I've tried doing really well with Tour Stop is not making it about country music.
Yeah.
It's about good music or
I
good
love
people.
that. And I noticed that. That is like one of the first things that I did notice because I've always deep down wanted to do like soul because I grew up singing like, you know, Amy Winehouse and like BB King
Mhm.
and like Ray Charles, all those kinds of people, those soul R&B men and women. And that's like the kind of songs we would sing in like that Ageless band that I had. And, you know, I loved it. And I always loved it. And so that was one of the things that I kind of first noticed with you
I
was
love
like,
that.
wow, there's a round down here that's having every kind of style of music. I love this.
Mhm.
And it
Because
made me
there are some that if you don't play country music,
Right.
you can't play.
No, exactly. And so I just appreciated that because I'm like, well, I'm down here for what I think is what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's country music. So I guess I'm going to just do that. But now I know that Erin will always be comfortable with, you know, me playing any kind of music. Like
Right.
NTS, I can always count on NTS to like...
How many other writers around let people who play comedy music play?
Right.
None.
None.
Like, that's what I do. Why would I blacklist someone who doesn't play country music? Because
Right.
I don't do it.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I can't expect somebody to do something that I wouldn't even do.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's one of the things I've tried to keep really tried and true with Tour Stop is like, it's just about good songs and good people.
Yes.
If you don't want to write a song about a truck or a bar stool,
Yeah.
honestly, thanks.
Literally. No,
We've heard
like,
enough of that.
Thank the Lord. Yeah. I think I just have gotten to the point where I still love country music.
Mhm.
So I think lyrically, I'll probably kind of still have those little touches of that, you know? But melodically and production wise, I just love the soul and R&B sound. And just in my soul, I need to go down that path.
And there's so much crossover happening right now.
There is, like Marin and Chris and Cassie Ashton and like all these people are
Beyonce,
doing that.
Post Malone,
Yeah,
like
right, literally.
There's so much crossover happening right now that the lines of what country music is are actively being broken.
Yes.
They're changing.
It's amazing.
And artists like you are part of that.
Yeah.
That we aren't this dirt road beat boop robot
Yep,
country singer.
girls and shorts and
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
honestly, again, good.
Yes. Agreed.
We've heard enough of that.
Yeah.
It's time to hear something new.
Yeah. It sounds corny, but I'm just kind of like, it's the classic saying, like, let go, let God. Like, I'm very, very blessed and lucky to be able to live a life where I can do music full time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a super supportive husband and really supportive families on my side and on his side. So I can just...
You have the opportunity to do something.
Let go and just let it happen. Like whatever happens, happens. And that kind of leads back to us talking earlier about going out and networking. Like I don't want music and songwriting to become work for me.
Right.
And the last few months, it's felt that way. And I hated that feeling.
It needs to be about art.
Yeah, I hated that feeling. And so I just finally just took the pressure and the bags off. And I'm like, I'm just going to do it because I love it. And if something pops off, great.
Cool.
That was God's plan. Like I am fully living in just letting God take the reins and letting him do his thing. If he wants me to become a singer, I will do the work on earth that I need to be doing, but I am going to let him take the reins.
That's
so
cool.
That's just what I've come to the conclusion
and
of.
letting that the creative process happen is something that I think a lot of people miss in Nashville because they're like, I have to write 5 songs a week.
Yeah.
And then it does become about work. And then you start getting stale.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to say because you're overdoing it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure people have gotten huge hit songs off
Right.
of those 5 times a week.
For sure.
But I wrote, I think, like 8 songs last year. And I went through this huge crisis of identity. Like,
Yeah.
have I lost the interest in songwriting? Do I
Oh.
like this anymore? Do I want to do this anymore?
Gosh,
And I
get it.
didn't force myself to sit and play the guitar. Like, I've got these guitars. I've got a nice Les Paul
Yeah,
sitting
I know.
behind me.
I've been staring
And
at
I
them.
didn't play it for ages.
Yeah.
Because when I sat down, it felt wrong.
Yes.
It felt forced. And then I just didn't touch any of it. And lo and behold, I started listening to some music that spoke to me
Yeah.
again. I was like, oh, he might still be in there.
Erin, I love
and,
this.
and then you rediscover the love of why you wanted to do it to begin.
Yes.
Like,
I love that you had the same kind of like
Just
situation.
let it happen.
Yeah.
Just let it happen.
Yeah, let it happen. And I think it's a lot more like relatable than we think. I think a lot of us go through the same thing and we just don't talk about it a lot. So this is really cool. I love hearing that. Well, I'm sorry that you felt that way, but I love hearing that you can relate to.
You found the solution to it, and the
Yes.
solution wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
Which sounds backwards.
Right.
When there's a problem, you're like, what do I need to do to fix this?
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't need to do anything. Just wait.
Yeah.
Just give it some time.
Totally.
Do something else.
Yeah.
Go outside. Sit in a park and
Yeah.
look at a tree. Just
Go live life.
go live a life worth writing about.
Yeah. Yeah. Preach.
There you go.
Put it on a shirt, Erin Jill.
Well, I know you've got a new single coming out. Tell us about the new song.
I do. Yeah. So this next single is called Damn It, I Do. And I'm very excited because I feel like these next few songs that I'm putting out are kind of slowly leading me into this next phase of life and music that I'm going in towards. So people will kind of notice in the production how I'm adding in a little more of like some soul and some funk and like, I mean, hell, we put
Is
conga
this going to be the
drums.
first release as the new, I don't want to say the new identity of Erin Grand, the artist, but is this going to be that one?
Well, I feel like Look What You Done to Me was kind of the first little
Okay.
taste. And now
This is the first step towards that.
yes, this
Okay.
is just kind of the next, these next few songs are just kind of going to lead me out of, not completely out of country, because I will never leave Nashville and I love
Mhm.
it here. And again, I lyrically still feel like my roots are in country. So I want to just be able to do both. And I think we can. Like, who
You can do both.
cares? Who literally cares? So-
Nobody. That's it.
Right. Like, okay, maybe like the head of, any record label is not going to sign me here. Okay. But you don't need that anymore.
That's a
so
whole
I don't
other
care.
stone we could unturn. is
Exactly.
Record labels care, and it's like, oh, well, record labels are becoming obsolete.
Yeah. So like, I don't care anymore. I don't
Mhm.
care if this record label won't sign me because I'm not fully country. Like that is like beyond me. I don't even care. So this is just, this song is basically just the next
Who did you
step
write this
closer
with?
This is Channing and Alex.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I literally write everything with them.
Is that your core group?
It is. Channing and Alex are like if I want to write a good song and record and release it.
And this is
with
Channing
them.
of Lake and Lyndale,
Yes.
who we've had on the podcast before.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah. And it's funny because they're both Channing's from Chicago, but she lived a lot of her life in Minnesota, and that's where I met her. But Alex is from Minnesota too, and it's funny how we had to move down to
Mhm.
Nashville to even like get to know each other and write. I knew Channing. I've known her since I was like 14 years old.
Really?
But yeah,
How did you guys meet?
she was in a band called Maiden Dixie, and they
Mhm.
were a huge, like very,
They were
very,
a big band up
very
there.
well known up there.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that in their episode.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, they were incredible. And so me as just kind of getting into music and being in this little band called Ageless, we
Mhm.
would open up for them at shows.
That's neat.
So we would, I just connected with her, obviously, just saying hi. I was like, oh my gosh, there's this beautiful blonde woman that sings country and she's so good. Like I was enamored with her. And
You're like, I can do this too.
yes. And I just,
Look at that. Channing was a good influence.
oh, she totally was. She would laugh at that too if she was here. But now she's like an older sister and Alex is like an older brother to me. I mean, they are like family, like truly like they are family to me. I don't even.
Is this the same Alex that does a lot of the writing with Lake and Lyndale now?
Yes, he
Okay.
has. Yeah, he's written quite a bit with them. Yep.
Is this their producer?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes,
Yep.
I know this guy
Yep.
then.
And Alex co-produced Damn It I Do and all of my past songs. Literally every song that you've heard, Alex has produced or co-produced on. Brad
He's
Hill
a
is
great producer, by the way.
Oh, he's incredible. Brad Hill is the main producer, and then Alex is co-producing. And I will always work with him. I will always work with Channing.
That's
I mean,
cool.
they are just like my go-to people.
That's great.
And that's not pushing any other co-writer that I've ever written with aside.
It's A-OK
I
having
just-
your core group.
Yeah, you just have those people that like know your sound so perfectly and know exactly how to write for you so perfectly.
Tyler Bank is like that for me.
Yeah, see, that's
He's just one of those
amazing.
people that locked
love him.
into when I want to write something, he just immediately gets it.
Yeah,
I
wrote
brought a
with him-
song to him the other day. I wanted to write a song called Growing Up is Getting Old.
Yeah,
And
that's a great title.
I didn't want it to be funny.
Yeah.
And that's what he thought I wanted. He's
Right.
like, oh, it sounds like a silly song. I was
Yeah.
like, I need this to be about nostalgia. And gosh, growing up's getting old,
Yeah.
man. Like, it needed to be about, like, I want to know what it feels like
Yeah.
to go back to the last day of school when you're in 5th grade and just know you have 3 months off for summer break. That
Right.
feeling is what we tried to capture in this song. And as soon as
Aw.
he figured that out, he's like, oh, so you want this to feel like Christmas morning. You want this
Yeah.
to feel like your birthday. He's like,
Yeah.
and then he just boop, 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 all these things that I wanted to do. And I could have brought that song to a bunch of other people,
Yeah.
but the way that Tyler and I write is the same way I'm sure you and Channing and Alex are,
Right.
because you just
Get it.
gel.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he is so precious and he's so talented. He's a
He
great
is
guy.
one of those people who I think some big publisher is just going to happen upon him
Yes.
someday and be like,
Oh, it
why
will.
has no one signed you? Because he's got, I think
It will.
currently he's got something like 60 cuts.
My gosh.
And
well
some
deserved.
publisher is going to discover that and be
Yeah.
like, why are you not writing
Yeah.
60 cuts worth of music for
Well,
our big artists?
That's how I feel about Channing. Like, same way. There's so many people in our kind of friend group out here that are like that, where I'm just like, man, it is only a matter of freaking time that somebody is going to come up and snag you. And there's one person in particular in my mind that just happened to, that I'm very,
Who's
very
that?
happy.
You can name drop.
I can't.
Okay,
I
can't name drop.
You know what's so funny too is before we started this podcast, I was like, I'm an open book. I'm never gonna hide anything.
She's like, except for
Here
this
I am.
one.
I can't because he hasn't announced it yet. But there is one person in particular. I mean, I don't. He probably wouldn't totally care, but I'm just not going to do that because I want that to be him that announces.
You want
that.
it to be his announcement,
Yeah,
in his special moment.
For sure. I would
respect the hell out of
never
that.
ever say that, on out here in the open. But there, yeah, like I said, there is one person in particular that I'm like, oh man, finally, I am so glad that you got
great.
that deal because it is about time.
There's a few people like that. Like when Ryan Larkins got signed.
Yeah.
He was one of those people who we were all just wondering, like, why are you not at the Opry?
Yeah.
Like, there's people like that everyone is just patiently waiting for because we know.
Yeah.
We just know.
Yes. Totally.
So when does the new single come out?
Yeah, August 9th. Sorry,
August
I didn't
9th.
even say.
So that'll be next week. We were releasing this just a few days before. Is there a
Yes.
pre-save available?
There is a pre-save.
So where can we find the pre-save? Where can we find you online?
So the pre-save is kind of weird. I need maybe some help. Maybe people can help me with this. I upload all my stuff through DistroKid, and then they randomly throughout the weeks leading up give you the pre-save link for Apple and Spotify and Amazon. And right now I have only got the Spotify link. So you can only pre-save it on Spotify. I don't know what's happening. I don't know how to work all that. So if anybody wants to help a girl out.
Hopefully by the time this episode is released, all the others will have come through.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I guess hopefully by the time this airs, there's more than just Spotify to pre-save on, but that's all in the links in all my bios on social media.
What's your social media handle?
It's Erin Grand on Instagram.
And not just it's Erin Grand, but at it's Erin Grand.
At it's Erin Grand. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I have to remember that. At it's Erin Grand on
Is that across
Instagram.
platforms?
Nope. And then TikTok is Erin Grand Music.
Okay.
X is it's Erin Grand.
We'll have all of these linked in our episode description this week too. So if you want to follow Erin and listen to her music, check out the new single and pre-save.
Yeah.
Just click the episode bio on your podcast platform.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Yeah. No, I'm excited to release it. It'll be hopefully a fun release. This one's a little more upbeat than the past two that I've released.
Cool.
So I'm excited for something kind of fun and upbeat.
Well, do you have anything you want to leave our listeners with this week?
Oh,
Any
man.
cute quip? Anything like that? Restaurant recommendations?
I no. I mean, I don't know. This is so fun. I just love that you're doing this podcast, Erin, and I hope that more people you'll get more people on here and be willing to do this because like you said earlier when we were on our break, a lot of us don't really get to sit and talk to each other when we go out and play. And I think it is important to
to nurture an actual friendship.
Right. And meet in the middle of the day and not, again, we're kind of circling back to not going out at, 11 o'clock at night and having a beer. Let's hang out during the day. Let's go get lunch. Let's go get breakfast, whatever. I just love that your kind of podcast can bring people like us together to really hang and learn more about each other.
Just being a good hang.
Yeah. Hey, everybody listening, come on the NTS podcast because this is awesome. Everybody's going to be lined up out your door.
Line up out my door.
Yeah. No, this was so fun. Man,
well, y'all can follow Erin at It's Erin Grand across Instagram.
Across Instagram.
Across
That's
Instagram.
the only one that matters.
We'll have
Instagram,
all of her
TikTok.
stuff linked in the bio here, though.
Yeah.
We will be back next week, though, with more of, I don't know who's going to be on yet,
Okay.
but more of this stuff. If you want to check us out live, you can go to NashvilleTourStop.com and find our full live event calendar. We have music now Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we'll be around if you want to come hang out. If you are a musician and you're coming on tour and you'd like to submit to play while you're in Nashville, you can do that at NashvilleTourStop.com/contact. But just come hang out. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're at Nashville Tour Stop. But until next time, do remember that all roads lead right back here to the Nashville Tour Stop.